I doubt when you went to KCCA, you went there to be an ED. Are you surprised by this appointment?
Yes, thank you, Kanara and Samson. Of course, I am surprised, and that's why I really want to begin by thanking God, because I really believe, I know for sure, it is God who has fished me for this assignment at a time such as this. Let me use this opportunity also to thank His Excellency, the President of Uganda, the ministers for Kampala, the head of public service, and all the colleagues for the confidence that they have placed in me to execute such an onerous task. And I'm looking forward to working with the team, the political wing, the technical wing, the citizens of Kampala, all the citizens of goodwill, to deal with what I consider to be a mountain of challenges, but I don't believe they're insurmountable. I believe we can harness our resources, intellectual, financial, and other ways, and build from our networks and goodwill to see that we deal with the many issues. I think that the President and the appointing authority has given us 100 days, 3 months, 100 days for a reset. I and my team are going to try and unveil our plan of action for the next 100 days, dealing with what I consider to be the very, very big issues. Obviously, the elephant in the room is Kitezi and the aftermath of Kitezi. How do we decommission Kitezi, find new land for a new landfill, begin to move for waste to energy ideas, and make sure they work fast. In the meantime, find a place to handle garbage in the interim. We need to think about decongesting the city, public order, trade order, the issue of markets. I mean, there's so many things, but I believe that what I'm going to do is I see my role really as a team leader. We have got 2,400 committed, bright, strong leader members of staff at KCCA, working in the divisions, working tirelessly to solve some of these problems. All they need is leadership, coordination, mentorship, and direction. And I believe that with everybody's support, and especially the public, and you, our friends in the media, maybe we can try to begin reducing some of these huge Herculean tasks that are ahead of us.
There've got to be some 2, 3 that you plan to work on in 100 days, and that you figure that in 100 days this I can get done, so that after those 100 days, if they're not done, we know that you're not up to the job.
I think the very first thing I'm going to focus on with my team is resetting the whole focus of the human resource. Any organization, be it even a nation, there's nothing as more valuable than the human resource. We need to have our people well motivated, well trained, and well focused. We need to have a clear vision and a clear mission. Urban work and cities are really about planning. Planning is so central. Every problem that we face should begin with a clear, elaborate, strategic, measurable, elaborate plan. So the planning component is going to be very strong. We need to see how we fit in the strategic plan, where are we with that plan, the physical development plan, to make sure that everything we do moving forward is focused on a plan. I am going to focus a lot on innovation. We need to understand that the technical people at KCCA do not have all the answers. But our country is full of people with ideas. Some of these people are in the private sector. Some of them are in academia. Some of them are in civil society. We need to create spaces to allow innovation, to allow ideas to flow vertically and horizontally. Because I know that there are many people out there, when they're struggling with a jam, when they're struggling with all these challenges, people have ideas and they keep calling us and saying, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I think we need to create these spaces. We need to create spaces for feeding, for information, for sharing ideas, learning from other cities. For example, there's no problem in Kampala that is not faced in Kigali or Nairobi or Kinshasa or any of these cities in the region. How are our neighbors dealing with the same challenges? Are there things we can learn from them in a cost-effective way? Of course, there's been a cry of limited resources. Over the years, our budget has always going lower and lower. But I believe that before we cry for more and more money, I think we need to start out by answering the question of how best have we used the resources that we have. This is how I want to approach this. And I think also another issue is trade order. When you go to the streets of Kampala and you see what's going on our streets, it is shocking. I mean, a proliferation of street vendors and all sorts of things. So there's the issue of trade order, there's the issue of markets and management of markets. There's a lot of issues. I could speak a whole day about markets. Law enforcement, our men and women on the streets that are enforcing the laws. There is a whole bad vibe around it. People are not happy with sometimes the high-handedness of our people, issues of integrity and ethics in that sector. We are going to look into those issues. The speed of doing business at KCCA, physical planning, people asking for permits. How long does it take? A proliferation of buildings without permits. Petrol stations mushrooming in all corners with no permits. We are going to have to address some of these issues. Of course, you'll ask me, is 100 days enough? Maybe it's not, but I believe in the 100 days we can reset. We can set the foundation for beginning a deliberate, elaborate process of dealing with the problems that we're faced with in a systematic, step-by-step way. Of course, the elephant in the room also is the need for necessary political compromise. KCCA is a unique institution. There's a lot of political tensions. You've just seen in the news. You are seeing the speaker hurling allegations against the Lord Mayor. Then we have got a minister, the Minister of Kampala, guiding us, giving us policy direction from the executive. So it is a whole governance nightmare that is going on there, but it's not insurmountable.
Okay.
But we will try to give it our best, and we pray that God will be with us.
Frank, remain on standby. Let me just bring in Simon Peter Chinobe here. Council, what do you make from a very legal perspective? What do you make of the outgoings and incomings, and if you may, the vacancies that have been left? We are dealing with a man who has no legal advice because, the person that remains vacant.
First and foremost, I want to congratulate my brother Rusa.
Thank you.
I know he's one of the most competent citizens we have in the country, especially in the area of law and management. He's headed IPOD before. He's a fella from Harvard, I think. So he's highly informed, and I think he's going to be one of the best EDs we've had. My take is when Jennifer Musisi left KCCA, there was laxity from the people that replaced her. And you tell that many things were going wrong. And it is possible that the things that were going wrong because of inadequate funding, but it's also possible that things were going wrong because of the lack of planning. I don't want to say it was incompetence, but there was laxity. I remember the president one morning saying, how did all the roads go or get this bad without us knowing? How did this happen? Why hadn't we planned for this? And I remember when Jennifer Musisi was ED, there had been a whole plan that delineated when these things will happen, how they will happen, and how they ought to be addressed. I'm sure the outgoing ED had this report and could have addressed issues better. And I think that's why she's being found culpable of criminal negligence. The sad thing is she was a lawyer. She should have known better. But the good thing is also my brother Rusa is a lawyer. So as you enter these big shoes, please use your legal acumen to interpret and understand what ought to be done to avoid falling in the same trap your predecessors have done. There are so many wars at KCCA, but many of them are playing to the gallery, political playing to the gallery. And the role of the ED is that of a technocrat. I like how ED Chisaka had learned how to ignore the political noise. But in learning how to ignore the political noise, she should have been able to sieve the relevant and irrelevant. She ignored everything. So as you're listening to these politicians, shut the noise out, but also concentrate on the core of your mandate, the core of your appointment, serving the people of Kampala and making Kampala a better city, one lovable by the people that dwell in it, but also by those that visit it.
Councillor, if I may, it's in living memory, it had been a long time since we had seen President Yoweri Museveni receive a report and before the ink has dried, firing people. Is President Yoweri Museveni setting a new precedent? And if you may, is Chisanja Hakuna Mchezo finally here?
First and foremost, Chisanja Hakuna Mchezo has always been here. I think, and I've seen numerous occasions where the president has not only fired, but also retired people in public interest, including ministers, including members of parliament. We've seen people being arrested for graft. We are now seeing the outgoing ED, her deputy, and the head of public health also being fired, but not only being fired, but being recommended for criminal prosecution for criminal negligence. Now, what I know about the president is not reactionary. So the president works on the advice and information he receives. By the time the president takes this step, you have to know that it is well informed, and he's gathered all the possible intelligence. From as of yesterday, I know there were 2 reports, one from the police and another from the Inspector General of Government. And so this is not something to be taken lightly, but also this should be a wake-up call for public officials who are in public office that are taking appointment for granted. The era of taking citizens for granted has come to an end. The president has spoken. His action will be firm, but also the impact on those that are going to be charged, those that are going to be prosecuted, is going to be very, very heavy. So I don't think it's a one-off. I don't think it has just started. But what I know is that the president takes decisive decision on an informed basis. So this has been done. 2 reports have come out. And if there are any others, I can assure you he will take the same action if it necessitates.
Thank you very much, Councillor Simon Peter Chimnobe. Let me come back to you in about 45 seconds, Frank. From your heart of hearts, is this a job you want to keep, or you're happy to do the 100 days, then you go back to your former position?
I think for now, let me focus on the task that I've been given, which is 100 days of resetting.
Is that you saying yes or no?
So I've availed myself to do the task for 100 days. But before I do that, let me first thank Senior Counsel Kenobe for the good advice that you've given to me, but also to the leaders in public service that are out there. I think that we need really to start focusing our thinking on citizen-centric solutions. I mean, this country, if we are not careful, our city is going to stop being even livable. Part of our vision is to make Kampala city livable. And it's going to take a lot of commitment. Beyond, we need to realize that we're not just doing a job to earn a living, but we're trying to create a space that our children can enjoy when we have departed or even grown much older. So I think that it's a very important call to public servants today that we need to go beyond thinking that we're just doing any other job, to understand that we actually have a generational mission. This is how I've chosen to look at this task. I have no doubts whatsoever. It is a tough job, and all my colleagues know this. But I believe that as a team, we are going to give it our best shot, and hopefully, after 100 days, the public will tell us whether we are able to make some positive progress.
After that long answer, my understanding of this is that you want the job and you want to keep it, and good luck in there. Thank you very much.